Welcome back to another Athlete Spotlight. Today we're having a conversation with Lambert Longhorn, rising senior, Mia Rovira. She does an interesting sport that when I found out about it personally, I was like, listen, we have to sit down and talk. Because if it's new to me, I'm assuming it's new to a lot of people. So we're going to just get right to it. Tell the people, what sport do you participate in?
So I do rhythmic gymnastics, and it's a sport that has components of gymnastics, ballet, and dance. And it's in a carpet, and we have we compete for equipment: hoop, ball, clubs, and ribbon. And we do routines of 1.5 minutes, and it consists of a lot of discipline and fluidity with the music and expression.
Tell the story of how you got involved with rhythmic gymnastics.
So at first I started with ballet, but like around my house I would always be jumping around and like doing all sorts of like crazy stuff. And I always wanted to do gymnastics as a little girl. And so my mom didn't want me, like she was scared of all the injuries that come with artistic gymnastics. So she did research and she found an alternative, which was rhythmic. So I thought when she took me to my first class, I thought I was gonna see like the beams, the bars, and all of that. But no, when I came, there was like an empty carpet and like just like children on the carpet, and I was like, what is this? But then my coach, like she pulled out like the ball and all of that, and when I saw it, I like immediately fell in love.
Really?
Yeah.
What age was this?
I was 5.
5. Let's kind of give the people a breakdown of what they consist of, because I think it says 4 different areas that you actually compete in.
So they're all the same. You have 1.5 minutes for each performance, different music, different routines. So first you start with hoop, which is like, it's like a hula hoop, but
Okay.
It's like slimmer and it's like not hollow, and it's made of plastic, and we do rolls and toss it around and all of that. And then we have ball. A lot of people, when they look at it on video, they think it looks like a bowling ball, and they always ask me if it's heavy or not. And I'm like, if it's like a bowling ball, why would I be tossing it like over my head?
Right.
So it's made out of rubber, and it's pretty light. And
Okay.
and it's the same thing. We do like rolls with our arms. We do tosses. And then we have clubs. A lot of people don't really know about clubs. They're like 2 sticks, and they have like head. It's like circus clubs,
Okay.
but they're a little bit thinner, and then they have like a head. And then obviously ribbon. That's like the main. That's what rhythmic gymnastics is like known for, and it's juniors do. Juniors are 15 and younger. They have a 5-meter ribbon, but as a senior, when you get into the senior category, you have a 6-meter ribbon.
Okay. The length of the ribbon.
Yeah, that's the length, yeah.
Does that make a major difference in when you compete in 5 versus 6?
Well, 6 meters, you just have like a little bit more room to mess up. Yeah.
Like it. Okay. A little
Yeah.
more safety. Okay, so which one do you like out of the 4? Which one do you like the best?
My favorite one is clubs.
Really?
Yeah.
What's behind that?
I don't know. I like ever since I first picked it up, I was like not a natural.
Okay.
I always liked it, and I've always been fast with it. Like I can pick up new skills with it faster than the other equipment.
Okay.
So,
but when you first walked into the gym at the age of 5, I think the first thing they pulled out was the ball, and you was like, whoa, like you were excited immediately.
Yeah.
But picking up the clubs, you feel a little bit more natural, you say?
Yeah.
How much of a variety is the movement, whether it's the club or the ball or the ribbon?
Mm-hmm.
Are there a lot of similarities with the movement?
Yeah, they are similar. So in a routine, you need to have like body difficulties, which are jumps, turns, and balances. And you also need to have apparatus work. So you do like the same body difficulties with all 4 equipment, but since like the apparatus is different and like the shape and what you're able to do with it is different. So so like the apparatus work is what differs in the routines.
Okay, got it. Who do you compete with? Like, what's the name of your club? And give us a little bit about your team that you compete with.
So I go to Prima Rhythmic Gymnastics. That's the name of my club. We're the only club here in Georgia that has gymnasts in level 9, which is level 9 and 10, which are like the highest level of rhythmic gymnastics. And we compete with other gymnasts in other clubs around the country. So there's not really a lot of like in-state competitions unless we do our own competition at our own gym amongst like each other. So it's a lot of traveling, but also I'm in the Puerto Rico national team, so
we're going to get to that in a second too. That's a big deal. But go ahead.
So I'm in the Puerto Rico national team. So other than competing against other gymnasts in the U.S., I also compete against other gymnasts around the world that are also representing their countries.
Okay, so just know for the record, the reason she's on this show today is because in her sport, she's competing at the highest level. I was going to get to that a little bit later, but since you brought it up, go ahead. So you compete on a local team.
Yes.
With a local club, and you all travel, across the state or, the U.S. Puerto Rico national team. So in relation to the international experience, competing for your country, overall feelings, how was that experience overall?
It was definitely a very life-changing experience. If at first it feels like a normal competition because like all the prep is the same. Like I warm up, I stretch, I do my routines in the back carpet. But once the announcer the first time that I went on the carpet for my first routine, that first time that the announcer was like, now on floor, Mia Rovira from Puerto Rico, I was like, what? I was like, did I just hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, and I remember it was also very life-changing for my parents as well, because I just remember they're the loudest cheerleaders. They're like, wow, with the flag and everything, just holding.
Obviously your parents.
Yes.
Or your parents are from Puerto Rico.
Yes, and I was also born.
You was born in Puerto Rico.
I moved here after I finished 3rd grade, so I was probably 8 or 9, around that age. Okay,
so at the age of 3, so ballet and even getting introduced to rhythmic was all in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So you did 3 years of rhythmic gymnastics in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. Okay. I have a question relating to that. Mm-hmm. Is it a big difference between how the sport is taught or what the training looks like in Puerto Rico versus where you are now?
It's not different because both of my most coaches in rhythmic gymnastics are Russian, and both of my coaches in Puerto Rico and here, they're both Russian. The only thing that was different is the facilities in Puerto Rico. The facilities are not great. Okay. I didn't have the carpets that my coach had. Unfortunately, they were not in the best conditions, which is something that the federation needs to help with. Definitely the facilities are a big thing. I remember when I moved here and I stopped doing gymnastics for 2 years because we just didn't know any place to go to when we moved here. But I remember when we found out about Prima and I went for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is Olympic level stuff. The carpets were nice and clean, no holes. There was AC. Yeah. Got it. It was definitely I was shocked.
Really?
Yeah.
So the training, based on the type of coach you've had, you say it's the same.
Yeah.
Well, kind of the same.
The training is the same.
The facilities is the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we're talking resources now. You've been over here, you've been competing, you made the Puerto Rico national team. Has that required you to do any training back in Puerto Rico?
No,
Okay.
but I go to Puerto Rico every December for Christmas and like the holidays. So to like not lose practice and not get out of shape, I do go back to my old coach and I do practice with her for
She's still coaching? Same
Yeah,
coach?
she's still
Good,
coaching.
good,
Yeah.
good.
And she has a girl in the team in the national team as well. So yeah, I go back to her and I practice with her for like 3 to 5 days.
Do you have to change your mindset? You know, you go from these nice facilities and the nice fresh carpet. So what is it? How's it when you go back to Puerto Rico? How's your mindset?
Well, after there was a hurricane in Puerto Rico, Hurricane Maria. So after I was already in Georgia, so after the hurricane, she had to change places and she lost the carpet. The carpet got damaged and all that. So now she has the like blue cheerleading carpet, which is not ideal, but we also have like in my gym we have like a small area with that carpet as well. So like, it's not that I've never like trained in a cheerleading carpet before, but I'm used to like having the like nice like actual rhythmic gymnastics carpet, and it's also a smaller area, and it's also like open air. Like we do have like a roof, but it's like there's no AC.
Oh yeah.
And the space is smaller, so it's hard. It's really hard to do my routine, and it's also very humid. So my ball, I cannot grip my ball. Like my
Really?
ball. Yeah, I remember doing my routine, and my ball was just like falling everywhere because my hands were so sweaty. I could not like keep it with me.
Right.
So I definitely have to get accustomed, but I make it work.
You make it work.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time you ever touched the ball was in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. So even though you've been over here for a while doing it, but that was still your foundation. So that's and I think it's actually a good thing that you go back once a year and still train. It kind of makes you seem like it makes you maybe think a little harder, focus a little more, and also you have to work a little harder because, like you said, it's humid and the facilities are not ideal, but you still want to do it right.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. How does it work with your travel?
We usually compete within the region. Sometimes we also compete regions that are like next to us. So like region 4, we go up north a lot.
Okay.
We also go to Florida a lot. There's a bunch of competitions in Florida, but it's mainly in the East Coast.
So you spend a lot of time traveling.
Yeah.
Is that a weekend thing, weekday thing? What's travel like? Typical travel schedule.
Mostly during the weekend. The competitions during the weekend, but I do have to take time like
off. Okay.
Off. For.
How do you balance? Because this is key for obviously high school athletes. Because you know, you're student athlete, you still want to be the best student you can be. And by the way, what's your GPA again?
4.0.
So 4.0 GPA. So they're not just handing that out. You earning a 4.0. So how are you balancing the academic piece with the travel and the competition?
So it's definitely hard. It's hard to balance it, but I make it work.
You make it work.
Yeah. So I try to balance as much as possible. I do take APs, but I take less than what I would take if I didn't do gymnastics.
Right.
Because I know that it would, like the workload with how much I practice, it would just not work at all. I want to do my best in both aspects, like academically and athletically. So I need to like find a middle ground so I can do my best in both areas.
Okay, you said a word, practice. Because we hadn't talked about practice yet. So you're competing, let's say you're leaving town maybe on a Friday, maybe on a Thursday evening to compete on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you come back. But your practice regimen is pretty intense as well.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about how many days a week, hours, what does practice look like for you?
So I practice Mondays through Saturdays, and practices are from 4 to 6 hours long.
Whew. Okay, hold up. Make sure. I thought you was about to say 4 to 6 p.m. You said 4 to 6 hours. So typical practice start time.
During the school year, we usually start at 5 p.m.
So 5 p.m. Okay, so we're doing the math. So if you're doing a 4-hour practice, you're going from 5 to 9.
Yeah.
If you're doing a 6-hour practice, you're saying 5 to 11?
Yeah.
I'm talking p.m.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Well, you definitely have to get used to it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yes.
For sure. It's definitely something you have to get used to. I don't, honestly, I've been doing it for so long. I don't know how I do it. It's just like you have to have love for the sport to like keep up with the schedule. It's definitely like love.
It's love.
Yeah.
How does practice? How's it broken up?
So we try to do 2 equipment per day.
Okay.
And it depends on the day. We don't really have like a set, like we don't have like Monday you're doing ribbon, Tuesday you're doing this. It's basically what you did like the last practice. If you did ball and clubs, then today you're gonna try to do ribbon and hoop. Like, and if you didn't do good, if you didn't do what you wanted to achieve that practice, then I would do hoop the next day as well, just to like try to like get more consistent, improve. So it just depends on the day.
What does competition look like? How does the point system work?
So it's a bit complicated. It's
so give us the novice, meaning we don't know anything. How do you break it down to where the people like myself can get it?
So it's divided into 3 main categories. There's a D score, an E score, and an A score. D is for difficulty. So it's basically what you put in the routine. So like body difficulties such as turns, jumps, and balances, and also apparatus difficulty. So the stuff that you do with the apparatus. And so that has like an unlimited score because so each like body difficulty and apparatus difficulty, it is assigned a value because there's a code of points. So there's a value assigned to everything.
Got it.
So basically you do all like the stuff they have in your routine, and that's like your difficulty score. And then there's E score, which is for execution. So if you, for example, it's basically like cleanliness and how you execute like a jump or a turn or like apparatus difficulty like a toss. So, and that's
everything matters.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like the way you toss,
like pointed toes, straight knees, straight arms.
Similar to gymnastics, you know, traditional gymnastics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get a max of 10 points from that execution score.
Okay.
And then the last part is the A score, which is artistry. So it's basically like musicality, expression, like how the dance steps match with the music. And there's also like penalties. So if you drop, if you cross like the red line, like if you go out of bounds, artistry is also out of 10. So usually scores range between like 20 to like 30. Sometimes they go over 30 points.
All right, so you qualified for the national team, the Puerto Rico national. That's a big deal too, by the way. I know you real like, that's a big deal. So what does that mean for you?
It's definitely, for me, it's definitely like an honor to represent like a little island.
Yep.
It's very special, especially when I went to Guatemala for my first international competition. It's the only one that I've done so far because I'm fairly new at this, but it was definitely like a very surreal experience. I don't know how to describe it because it's just like so special. Like
right.
Yeah.
And that was this summer, this past summer.
Yeah, this summer.
So you competed in Guatemala. How did you do?
I did. It was by far my most consistent competition of the year.
So you rose to the occasion.
Yeah. It was also my last competition before the season ended.
Oh, cool. So that's a big time experience for you. I mean, a high school student.
Yeah.
So let's change lanes a little bit because this is important. We're talking to a high school athlete. You're balancing academic. You have a 4.0 GPA. You take some advanced placement courses, which are tougher.
Yeah.
Let's talk nutrition. How important is nutrition to you?
Nutrition is very important for this sport because like we have to be like on the fitter side, so we have to have like a set, like not diet, but we have to be like more, how would I say, like more conscious of what we like eat, basically. You have to have a balance, obviously. Like you can't just like starve, but you also can't just like eat your entire fridge. So
I know your mom is like, yes. Mom and dad like, yes.
yeah. So I always start with like a healthy like breakfast for sure. I always make sure I have breakfast, so to like have strength for school and then practice. And then I always make sure to have like a good lunch before practice, because you know I'm there for 4 to 6 hours. So hydration is also really important. I bring like the most ginormous water bottle to practice, because for me like hydration is like super mega important. Like I'm drinking water all the time at practice. I don't know, there's people that don't drink water like barely, and I don't know how they do it, because like I do a few jumps and I already like I need a water break. So
right.
yeah, so I make sure that I have like a good amount of protein and healthy carbs. That's like the main thing.
Give us an example of a typical breakfast for you. A weekday, meaning, hey, you know, I'm going to school and I'm going to practice, versus it's a Saturday, I have competition. Does that breakfast change, or is it typically the same?
It's typically the same, except like for example, for like a normal day, I usually eat like a boiled egg and then some fruits on the side, and then for a competition, I usually, instead of like a boiled egg, I have like a bigger omelet, just to, because I don't really eat during competition, because it's not really good, because then I feel like the food like jumping around and it's like not really a good feeling. So I don't know how much time is gonna pass before my next meal, so I always make sure that it's like most of the time, like almost all of the time, I have like a omelet before competition.
Okay.
Because like egg, so like a lot like protein, so I know that it'll like sustain for longer.
Yes. Okay, so that's breakfast. So obviously, we're going back to just a normal day, a regular day. So I got my boiled egg and my fruit. What's lunch? Do you have a go-to lunch?
I like vegetables. I don't know, like in the past years, I don't know like what happened. I became like I developed a craving for vegetables. Like I love vegetables now. So for protein, I have salmon and chicken. So definitely like leaner like protein. Like I definitely prefer eating like fish and chicken, because I just feel like satisfied rather than like full.
Got it.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got my breakfast going. I got my lunch going. So you eating lunch at school, let's just say noon-ish, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. Practice starts at 5. What's going on between your lunch and before you go to practice? What's happening from a nutrition standpoint?
So I usually eat a snack before going to practice, because by the time that I get home from school, like I already have like burned through like the lunch that I ate.
Yep.
So I grab like a protein bar or something right before practice, and then for dinner after practice, it's like a little bit later, so it's not like great for me to like have a full meal that late at night. So I usually have like a yogurt and like maybe a cereal, and then
something light.
Something
you want
lighter.
to put something on your stomach.
Yeah.
Right. I got it. Okay.
For like regeneration.
Correct.
After, yeah.
Correct. So that makes sense why your breakfast is so important for you.
Yeah.
Because in reality, on a typical week, I mean, you're not eating a heavy meal, let's say after 1 o'clock, because you ate a nice lunch. So that's pretty much your last like heavy meal. Okay. So nutrition is super important, and you found a system that works for you. If I eat this, if I eat that, I feel good. I can move around on the carpet. I can jump. Whatever you need to do, you can make it happen. How much water do you think you drink a day? Because you say you have a ginormous. That was the word you used. Water. How many? Is it a gallon? Is it a half a gallon? What is your water? Your size of your water jug?
64 ounces.
So you have a half a gallon.
At practice, I drink the whole thing.
Really? Do you ever have to refill that? Or normally that one is
Sometimes I have to refill it, but
depending on how your coach is feeling that night.
yeah, depending on what I do that day, yeah.
There you go. Okay, so nutrition, you feel good about the foods you're consuming, the nutrients, like it's purposeful. You're eating it because you want to be at your best. So now we have to talk about the next one, in which you know me, how I feel about the sports performance piece. The first question I'm going to ask you is, as a rhythmic gymnast, why do you strength train?
I strength train, obviously to stay in shape. This past year, I noticed a bigger difference with my body. Like my arms were stronger, and I think also a big thing that weight training has helped me with was confidence. Like every day I tried to like achieve a new goal in the room, and like having that before practice like set like a good tone and like a good attitude for that day, because like I left like school and I was like at least like I did something new today, like let's try to like incorporate that at practice and like use like that
momentum.
Yeah, like that momentum for practice to like have a good like productive practice.
Prior to your sophomore year, any strength training experience?
No.
Give us your first, because it was brand new to you, right?
Yeah.
First impression.
I was completely lost. Yeah, I was like, at first I was like, oh my gosh, like what did I do? But like I got used to it. Like once I saw like the routine and all of that, I was like, okay, like I can do this. I can stay.
There you go.
And yeah, it was definitely some getting, especially like when everybody like started running like for agility ladder, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? I don't know where to go. Yeah.
You saying like the call and response and everybody comes in, hustles inside the room.
Yeah.
Got it. You were like, what is going on around here?
Yeah. Like my friends told me, they were like, when you get in the room, like you need to run. Like there's no walking, you need to run. And I was like, okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously it took you a little bit. How soon do you feel like you were able to kind of just pick up the flow and the expectation?
Like around the like second to third week.
Okay. Now going into your junior year, I mean, hey, I know it's the same guy leading the class. I know him. I know what it's about. My friends, we're back. How did you walk in the room last year, which was your second? How did you walk in the room the first day? Like, what was it? It
was definitely like, there was a huge difference from sophomore year. Like, I don't know, like, I definitely felt like more comfortable, and especially since I was like a grade older, I was also like, well, I'm like older now, so
yeah.
I was more, first of all, confident. Second of all, like I knew what I was doing, so I wasn't lost, and so like I wasn't nervous. Like the first day, I was really nervous that first day that I got in the room. But the first day of junior year, it was if summer hadn't happened, like school just like. Yeah, it kept going.
Just kept going.
Yeah.
You don't have to share your weight room numbers, but the core lifts that are done, like the back squat, the bench press, the clean, the power jerk, stuff like that. Is it safe to say all your numbers are like just from the time you started to the end of your junior year last year?
Yeah, especially bench press.
Really?
Yeah, I'm impressed. I didn't even know I could do that.
Right. So confidence sound like that's if you had to rate like in terms of improvements, that's been the number one thing for you. Mm-hmm. Confidence is going up.
For sure.
And you've been able to take, when you get a new max or maybe learn a new lift or it clicks, you now to go, okay, let me take it to the carpet and hopefully it translates. Do you feel like it's translated to the carpet?
Yeah.
In terms of accepting the challenge or stepping up when it matters most? And then obviously your strength has improved. Do you feel like your just physical abilities have improved on the mat? And if so, kind of give us an example of something where you feel like, okay, this happened, I've gotten stronger in this area in the weight room. Now on the mat, on the carpet, I'm now able to do blank.
Okay, so our routines are a minute and a half, but for that whole minute and a half, like, you don't stop. You're jumping, you're turning, you're tossing, you're doing all sorts of stuff, you're dancing, you're like everything. Like after that, like minute and a half, you like basically cannot breathe. Like you can, when the music stops, you can hear like the gymnast like,
Really?
yeah, like it's really bad. So physically, I feel like it's helped me with like stamina. So I feel better after a routine. I don't feel like I'm about to pass out. I feel like I can like walk.
That's important.
Yeah. So definitely in that sense, it has helped me a lot.
How do you keep nutrition and strength training? How do you keep it a priority? Because it's obvious it's important for you. But between your school schedule, between your practice schedule, between your competition, what's your secret or your tip to making sure those two things are still at the top of your to-do list?
Definitely plan out the day, and like, for example, like if you have schoolwork and all of that, like try to have a set time. Just like have a schedule that works for you so you can like keep that like routine basically. So it's definitely like organization. Like that's like the main thing that you need to keep to keep those priorities like in check.
What motivates Mia? What drives you? What gets you going?
Definitely like seeing, like watching other people do gymnastics, that inspires me a lot. And like sometimes when I feel like not as inspired, like all I have to do is like go on my phone, and like the first thing that pops on like my Instagram feed or something is like a famous gymnast like just doing something. I'm like, wow, I really do love this. Yes. And like it inspires me to like keep going even when sometimes I feel like I can't. Like it's that like extra push. Yeah.
So would you consider yourself internally motivated? Or does it take a lot of external things to get you, like does it take your coach motivating you to get you to like practice or compete at that highest, or do you have this internal thing going on to where when it's time to go, you got it?
It's definitely a little bit of both, but my coach for sure does have a lot of like influence with like my motivation. Yep. And she helps me like stay in track and like she always makes sure that like I'm in my best like performance wise.
Got it. Okay. All right. So share with the audience what's next, at least based on your plans, what's next for you?
So unfortunately there's not like a college opportunity for gymnastics. Like there are people who continue doing like club gymnastics when they're in college. But I decided that it's after this season, it's a good time to stop, to prioritize like my education and to like give my 100% to my education and like my future. So with that, I would like to major in biology and become like to be part in the sports med field. But like on the side, I would also like to become a judge and definitely still be involved in rhythmic gymnastics, because it's a part, like it has been such a big part of my life for so long that I just like can't just stop. it can't just end there. So, right? Yeah.
Maybe competition, but not involvement.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to stay involved.
Right.
Sports medicine. Why sports medicine?
It just feels right because it's I've been an athlete for a long time, so it would just feel weird not to do something not involved in sport. So
in a perfect world, you get your sports med degree, and then what? You're working as what are you doing with it?
Definitely like a doctor, working with athletes, helping with injuries and recovery. Yeah.
And I think so. You mentioned you want to travel with it. Like you don't want to be
Right.
stationary like in an
in an
office setting.
right?
You want to travel with
Be on the field.
it. Like whether it be with a team or a club or.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Man, well, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Even though it's summertime, obviously school has not been in, but like I said, you train year round, so you still been at it. And we talked about doing this conversation. Oh man, it's been
like April.
It's been a couple months ago,
Right.
but it was hard to make it work. But I'm glad we was able to make it work. And I do want to say to you, thank you for educating us on the sport. I think we all learned a lot today. But I think the main thing I got out of this is it's still competition, right? It's still people trying to be their best. It's still
Right.
levels to it. It's still scores being taken. There's still things you have to do on a personal level to become one of the best. And you're not a level 9 by coincidence because you didn't start at level 9. You climbed the ranks. Your nutrition is important to you. Your strength training or sports performance is important to you, and being organized is just as important. Now, we're talking to a high school student, a rising senior, and we're talking about organization. So it can be done. It's all about priorities, though. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and hopefully, you never know, you probably encourage some young girl to maybe do a Google search now or a YouTube search
Right.
on Rhythmic Gymnastics. So I just want to say thank you for that. So appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Boom. It's all good.